Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to your calendar's franchise mode here in NHL 25. So last episode, if you did not catch it, we had the first round of the playoffs, and his team actually managed to win a playoff series for the first time in a bit. I feel like it was a pretty interesting series against Florida, one that we probably could have ended up losing, but we found ways to win consistent games. As you can see in the first two games, only by a goal, so these two games could have went either way, the 6-5 OT win and this 4-3 regulation win. Then we lost two games in a row. At that point, obviously, I'm not too sure what to expect. I think at that point I was like, oh, maybe it's going to be the home ice trend. Well, we do continue that trend where the home team didn't win, so we do win 6-2 there, but then we won 7-1 on home ice. So obviously, if we would have lost this game, I do think we would have ended up losing in Game 7, but our team came out with a very good offensive punch, and we managed to knock out the Panthers. Now we have to play the Toronto Maple Leafs, and Toronto is a team that didn't finish very good during the season either. They finished lower than us in the standings just because of, obviously, the Atlantic Division being not very good. But since the Atlantic Division was not very good, they still do have home ice advantage, which is kind of weird, just because we were a wild card team. They had 10 less wins than us, yet they are the home ice team. So it's a bit strange, but it should be an interesting matchup nonetheless. If we do a little bit of a comparison during this playoff so far, you could see that they aren't scoring a lot, but they are very solid defensively, and then their special teams have been decent as well. So should be a good matchup. I'm hoping that we can find a way to win. And obviously, if we do win, we can find ourselves in the conference finals, which would be really good. Because obviously, if we lose this series, then obviously next episode would be the finale recap. So I'm hoping we continue to extend the season or the series a little bit longer with NHL 26 on the horizon and all that. So, but let me show you guys what the Toronto Maple Leafs look like again, and then we will get into this episode. It's been a while since we played them because we did play them a number of years back in the conference finals a couple times. Since then, they've definitely changed up a bit, but they do still have, I'd say, a little bit of a weird looking team. Like, I don't know if they just made it back to the playoffs for the first time in a while, but you could see their like top six is not incredibly strong. Their first line's okay. But definitely a little bit of a weaker second line. And their bottom six, having guys like this Castonguay guy in, is quite strange. He was acquired, I guess, at the deadline from Seattle. So it looks like maybe Toronto tried to sell at the deadline. And then they brought in this guy. And for some reason, they're playing him in the NHL instead of the AHL. But he's in their lineup. And yeah, just a very weak bottom six for the most part. Their defensive core is also not the best on paper. And then from a goaltending perspective, this is probably their strongest point with the 85 overall goalie in Linden and our former backup goalie, Pedro Hainsey. So should be an interesting matchup. I definitely think we have the upper hand, but obviously they could end up being a cheese team that finds a way to somehow get to a finals again. But I'm hoping, obviously, we could build off of that 7-1 win we just had against the Panthers and find ourselves in the conference finals. I think if we do find a way to win this will definitely be the easiest route to the conference finals. But obviously, if we do get to the conference finals, we're going to have to take on a tougher team from our division in either Pittsburgh or Columbus. So hopefully we can find a way to win here. And then if we do face off against Pittsburgh or even Columbus for that matter, hopefully find a way to beat them as well. So with that said, let's get into the second round and see if this team could extend the series a little bit longer, or are we going to have the finale recap in next episode? Hopefully not. Like I said, I would like this series to end pretty much right around NHL 26. Because if it doesn't basically end right around NHL 26, we might have to change up the upload schedule a little bit. But with that said, let's get to game number one on the road in Toronto. Kind of weird that we don't have home ice advantage, but it is what it is. Kind of sucks being considered a wild card team when we had way more points than them, but maybe that means we're going to be a really good team still this playoffs. First period, game number one. 1-0 Leafs. Not an ideal start, but we did get 17 shots on goal, so we are generating chances. It's just not the best start offensively. Last game we had 7 goals. The game before we had 6 goals. So I'm hoping our team still has offense in them. Obviously, if they don't, that's going to be a bit problematic. But Curry scores on the power play. Shots are 17-9. Only down by a goal, so we're still in this. But obviously, we need our offense to find itself if possible. Can we find a way to tie this game up in the second period? 2-1. Okay, we do get on the board, which is good. Ekblad made it a 1-1 game. A couple minutes later, though, unfortunately, Zan Canaro gives the Leafs the lead. Shots are 29-18, so I wouldn't say Irwin's been bad, but he definitely hasn't been as good as he was in those last 2 games against the Panthers. We are generating chances, but it seems like right now their goaltending, which I said is their strength, has been a difference maker here early on. So can we find a way to tie this game back up in the third period? Let's see. Third period underway. Penalty kill to start the third, and we do kill it off, and we do tie the game up. Dempsey. And then Makinen gives us the lead. Okay. All right, I'll take it. 2 more goals. That's good to see. Good that we're getting goal scoring from a lot of different lines again. And final few minutes. Can we find a way to lock this game down or get an insurance marker or something? The answer is yes, we can. We come back and win 3-2 despite being down 2-1 going into the third. So the only time we had the lead was this third period goal. 2 goals a minute apart round. And we outshot them 43-28. So we definitely outplayed them and deserved that victory. And that's a decent way to start off this episode again, just like last one. So we had Ekblad from Crane and Dempsey from Holmstrom, and Makinen from Kazanov and Harris. So very much liking the depth scoring on this team right now. And yeah, definitely a good showing again from Irwin. Obviously didn't start off necessarily the best in the first period, but he was definitely good the rest of the way. And then the team was able to kind of figure itself out a bit. So yeah, Dempsey first start, Irwin second start, and their goalie got third start of the game. So yeah, it was definitely a little bit of a goaltending showdown, but we do find a way to win on the road again, which is a good sign. Hopefully we can obviously win on home ice as well, because we haven't been a great home team for the most part in this playoffs up to the last game we had where we won 7-1. So hoping that we're not just a full-on road team at this point. Hopefully, like home ice, obviously we could find ways to win as well. But I think we got to keep the team the same after a game like that. Kind of similar to the last series for sure, considering last series I should say, we won in game 1 by only 1 goal. So it could be very similar results to the last round, but I'm hoping obviously that there's a bit more consistency once we actually get on home ice as well. So with that said, let's keep the team the exact same for game 2. See if we could win both games in Toronto and continue this hot trend we've had on the road so far at this point in time. First period, game 2. 1-0 again for the Leafs. Okay, so similar to the last game, they do have a goal in the first period. This time they are out shooting us 12-11, so definitely still an even period. We don't have that runaway in shots like we did last game, but kind of sucks them once again to be trailing and giving up the first goal of the game. But our team at least seems to know how to score and get back into games, so let's not worry about that goal too much. Let's just find a way to play good defensively in the second and find a way maybe to tie it up or even get a couple goals to get a lead or something like that. Let's see what happens. Second period. 1-0 still, okay. Definitely not off to a great offensive start this series, like 3 goals in a total of 5 periods, but we've not given up much too, which is good. Shots are 23-19, so still pretty close in terms of both teams, in terms of chances and goals. We're still in striking distance. If we could find a way to get that next one, we could still win just like last game where we were trailing going into the third. So anything could still happen at this point. Can we find a way to solve their goalie, or is their goalie going to be locked in for a lot of the series? Third period underway. Can we find a way to tie it up? Can we find a way? Because it would be nice to win both games in Toronto, but at least we've took the first game. If we didn't take the first game, I would be pretty annoyed at this point. And we literally just got scored on by a guy that's a sub 70 overall. That's disappointing. That's disappointing. And unfortunately for us, we're going to get shut out in game 2, 2-0. So yeah, their goaltender's definitely been a little bit too good here early on for me. We outshot them 35-30, but we get shut out. That's not great. So definitely need a little bit more offensive punch, I feel like. But yeah, their goalie's been off to a good start. We only had 1 penalty that game too. So we definitely were pretty disciplined, which is nice to see. But definitely... yeah, another good game from Irwin. No problems with the defensive play in that one for sure. But definitely need goal scoring. And we need to make sure we don't get into a hole where we're not scoring a lot. First game, we only won by 1 goal. Technically, they're outscoring us now after these first 2 games, but the series is tied. So I'm not going to make any line changes yet, I don't think. It's tough to say, because if we make line changes right now, it could completely give us that offensive punch we've been looking for since that game against Florida. Or if we don't make any offensive adjustments, we could get into an offensive situation where our team isn't scoring at all. I think I'm going to still keep it the same for this game. Since we took at least one game at Toronto, I'll take it. But I'm hoping our team finds its offensive game here again. If they don't, and if we lose this game, we'll need to make some adjustments to try and get that scoring again. But for right now, I think we're going to keep it like this. Columbus is up 2-0 on Pittsburgh right now in the second round, okay? That's interesting. Calgary's up 2-0 on Colorado. Nashville and Anaheim are tied. All right. Yeah, I think we're going to keep it the same for Game 3. If we lose this game, though, adjustments are coming, especially offensively, but depends on what we do in this game if we need to make any other adjustments. But let's see if we get a good response to the last game, see if we could build off at least that one win in Toronto. First period, Game 3. 2-0 us. Good offensive start. That's what I've been looking for, and that's why I didn't make any adjustments yet, because you just never know. The team could be quiet for one game, but then figure itself in another one. Dempsey makes it 1-0 on the power play, and Schmaltz scores with a minute 18 left. So Dempsey's been playing pretty good as of late. Schmaltz also was really good near the end of the Florida series, so it's good to see that depth scoring showing up. Shots are 12-8 in favor of us, so pretty even period in terms of chances, I'd say. But we do have the lead by a couple goals. So let's have a good second period. We've been playing good defensively for the entire series so far at this point. Let's have another good defensive period here and see if we can find a way to close it out in the third as well. Second period. It's not one of those games. I was hoping it would be one of those games where you up 2-0 and then you stay up 2-0 after 2. But our team buckles a couple times because we gave up a bit too many chances in that second period. They only had 8 shots going into the second period, and they outshot us quite badly, I think, in that second period. But Nichols scores and Vorobiev scores on the power play. We've given up a couple power play goals in the series. But once again, now this game is tied going into the third, so for the most part, the series has been pretty back and forth and pretty close. The first game, we found a way to come back in a third. Second game, we got shot 2-0. This one, they've came back after that first. I honestly don't know what to expect, but it's anybody's game going into the third. Sucks that we played bad defensively in that period in terms of giving up chances, but let's find that defensive game again in a third, and let's see if we can find our offense that we had in that first period. Third period underway. Can we get that lead back? Can we get that lead back? Come on, boys. You got this. Just believe in yourselves. Versailles makes it 3-2. And then we take a penalty right afterwards, and Klimchuk makes it 4-2. God damn it, boys. 5-on-3 power play for us late. We do not score on it. And unfortunately, we're going to drop our second straight game. In this one, we had a 2-0 lead in, and we end up losing 4-2. That's a bit of a cheesy game there. Not liking that. Shots were dead even, but we give up 4 unanswered goals. It looked like we were going to have a good offensive game. It didn't. It wasn't. Dempsey from Jocelyn and Ashton, Schmaltz from Girard and Schaefer. And then, like I said, 4 unanswered goals from their team. Yeah, not the best game on paper for Irwin. And in terms of plus-minus, there is the bad stats from these guys defensively. All these guys were badly minus. Crane and Jocelyn only -2, but Dempsey, Ekblad, and Svedberg -3. So, yeah, Ekblad and Svedberg, I think they're a pairing, right? We might need to make some adjustments. I should have went to the 3 stars, but whatever. Let's go to edit lines here, and we will readjust things since we've dropped 2 straight games now. I need to find more offense, and I'm hoping we can get back to our defensive game a bit, because that last game, not the strongest. So if we're going to make some adjustments here, we could go back to goalies here. Irwin's going to definitely still stay in net. No question about that. But what should we do? I think this line was badly minus, right? Last game, yeah, it was. Let's, how good's Trotter been? 9 points in 9 games, so that's right. Kazanov's been a little bit on the quiet side. We'll move Kazanov down. We're going to put Karain back on the top line. Kazanov's a great defensive player, so I'm hoping he could help guys out like Dempsey a bit defensively. Now, Dempsey has been picking up his play quite a bit. Harris only has the 1 goal. Let's move Harris down too. Try and rework things a bit. So Crane, Mackin, and Dempsey, Ragnarsson, Ashton, Trotter, Kazanov, Jocelyn, Harris, Schmaltz, Jenner, and Girard. And then defensively, we're going to go back to Schaefer and Holmstrom, Smith and Ekblad, and then Goulet and Svedberg again, because Svedberg was bad defensively last game. All right, So a couple of adjustments. Obviously, there's guys in the AHL we could call up if we really need to. But once again, that's kind of a last resort option. All right, this next game's pretty important. If we could find a way to win this game on home ice, we could have a tie series, at least make it a best of 3. If we lose this game, got to win 3 straight games, which is going to be tough. Oh, boy. And we've not been a good home team so far really at all in this playoffs because we lost these 2 games. We won 1 game there, and we lost 1 home game there. So we only have 1 win in like 4 home games this playoffs. Meanwhile, we've been a very good road team. I don't know why we've been so bad in front of our fans, but we need to give them a win here, boys. So let's get to game 4. This is an important game. Like I said, we got to win this or else we have to somehow win 3 straight to extend this series a little bit longer. Let's see what happens. Game 4. Let's find our offensive game and let's hope that we can play good defensively too. First period. 2-0 us again. Okay, you guys should learn from your mistake, hopefully. Last game we played good in the first period, but afterwards we didn't. This time we outshot them 17-3, so that's a pretty dominant first period. But obviously we're only up by a pair of goals, so we got to be careful here. We cannot allow them to get back into the game like they did last game. Jocelyn and Harris with those power play goals on Linden. Like I said, we completely outplayed them in that first, but it's still a pretty close game because Linden has held them in it. So we need a good period in net, and then we also need to make sure we could find ways to play good defensively in front of our goaltender, not let them get more chances in the second. And we also maybe need a couple more goals just in case, because we know the Leafs can score goals. So can we have a good second period here as well and build off a very solid first? Second period. Still 2-0. I will definitely take it. That's definitely what I was hoping for last game, and then instead the Leafs scored 2 goals, so that's much, much better. Shots are 32-11, so we almost have 3 times more shots than they do, which is pretty insane. This should be a game we win unless our team falls apart in this third, so their goalie is definitely giving them a chance, but I'm hoping we could find a way to get that third goal so we could breathe a little bit easier. So let's see what happens. Third period underway as we look to tie the series up. Can we get some insurance? Penalty kill in the third. We kill it off. Nicely done, boys. Gibson pulls them within 1. I do not want to see that, especially with the amount of shots we have compared to them. Come on, boys. You got this. You got this. Just breathe and play good defensively. And we are barely going to lock that one down 2-1. So this has been a little bit of a defensive battle. A lot of close games. We outshot them 38-23. Our only 2 goals again came in the first period like last game. But this time around we at least played good defensively the rest of the way. And we didn't let them get back into it. So a win on home ice. Not a huge convincing one, but one I will take. And hopefully the team can build upon that in Toronto for the next game because we've been a good road team so far. But Jocelyn from Mackinnon and Harris, and we had Harris from Mackinnon and Jocelyn. So the same 3 guys with all the points in that one, both on the power play, it said too. So nobody will be plus on this team. Despite the win, we have just minus players, which is kind of funny. And then from a goaltending perspective, Irwin was on his game again. Irwin's been really good for most part. Like, he's had some bad games, but for the most part, I feel like he's definitely been the way better playoff goalie. He gets 3rd star, Harris the 2nd star, and Linden the 1st star. So their goalie got 1st star of the game in that loss. I'm kind of surprised Irwin didn't get 1st star, but I guess he didn't face a ton of shots. Linden kept the Leafs in the game the entire time, so kind of makes sense. But yeah, that's a nice little response. It's definitely been a low-scoring series here, though, for sure. Like, since our 7-1 win over Florida, it's been 3-2, 2-0, 4-2, and 2-1, which is interesting. So, yeah, we lost a couple games in a row, but we've responded with a win, which is good again. Let's keep the team the same maybe going into Toronto. I feel like we need some more goal scoring for sure. But at the same time, we have a tie series. So there's a big dilemma. Do we make any changes or not? Probably not after a win. But Columbus has already swept the Penguins, which is crazy. So winner of this series will face the Blue Jackets in the conference finals. Meanwhile, the West is very close to being decided as well. Anaheim and Calgary are both a win away. So we're the only series right now that is deadlocked at 2. Okay. Well, I think we're going to keep the team the same. Like I said, we've been a good road team so far. If we could find a way to continue being a good road team in this one, we could take a series lead. And then obviously we could still win in 6 games like we did against the Florida Panthers. So let's see if we can find our offensive game that we haven't had in a while. Because in general in the playoffs, maybe we haven't had the most craziest offense. Maybe in some games we have, but some games we have definitely not shown it as well. If we could get back to this level of game 6 and 7, or not game 6 and 7, 5 and 6 against Florida, we could definitely find ways to score goals. It's just about time. We need to find ways to score like 3 goals in a period to try and get our confidence back. So with that said, game 5 in Toronto, can we win another road game and set ourselves up for a chance to close out the Leafs in game 6? First period. 1-1. I'll take it. Isn't as good as being up 2-0 after the first period, but I'll definitely take it. They opened to scoring on a goal from Aston, but Jocelyn answers back for a shorthanded, so nice to see a shorthanded goal. Shots are 12-10 in favor of them, so pretty even period again. Not the craziest offensive game, but so far kind of reminiscent of the entire series where a lot of games have been pretty airtight. Can we find a way to get that lead in the second period? Second period. 3-3. Okay, now we're having a little bit of an offensive showdown. We actually had a 3-1 lead, and we've blown it, which is not great. Ragnarsson made it 2-1. Mäkinen made it 3-1. So at that point, it looks pretty good. But then another goal from that sub-70 overall player made it a 3-2 game. And then they get a shorthanded goal of their own. So shots are really even. It's 22-21 in favor of us. It's a 3-3 game. This has been a very, very close series. Like, both teams matched each other offensively and defensively. It seems like despite them being obviously way worse than us on paper, I mean, maybe not by much, because we have a lot of old guys that are on the dwindle, but I don't know what to expect from this as a team going forward into the third. Like I said, we were up 3-1 and we blew it, so I'm hoping that our team finds a way to respond to that, because I don't like it when we blow leads whatsoever. Can we find a way to get that lead back in a third? Third period underway. Come on, boys, let's get that next one. Oh, boy. Power play for us. No dice. No dice. And my voice is almost going on me as the Leafs take the lead. That's not good. 4-3 for them. Do we have an answer? There's still time. Please, boys. Find a way to tie it at 4 and get it to at least an overtime. Yes, let's go. Jocelyn ties it with a minute 59. This has been a very back and forth game. And whoever wins this game will take the lead in the series. I feel like jumping in and watching this. Should I do it? Since this potentially could be the last road game we have. You know what? I think I'm going to jump in and watch this. We might as well, considering this is the last season, watch as much as possible. So let's jump in and see if we can find a way to win this game on the road. And get it to another potential chance to knock out a team in 6 games. We should be able to win the series, so let's really hope that the team can find itself here. It's been back and forth all game. We had a 3-1 lead, then it was 3-3. They had a 4-3 lead, then it was 4-4. Let's see if we can get that next one and take that series lead. Mäkinen at the draw will win it. Schaefer finds Holmstrom. Holmstrom with the puck. Holmstrom back into his own zone, but finds Crane up to Mäkinen. The old guy's out there. Mäkinen will dump it in. Kind of nice having Crane on the top line again, but at the same time, he's not the same player. Crane throws it to Mäkinen and can't get the pass through. I don't know why Mäkinen was at the point, but I don't mind it. Here's Vorobiev for the Leafs, over to Harris, over to Aubry out front. It's loose. Holmstrom with a great defensive play, and our goalie's stick is like caught behind his back. Let me take a look at that for a second. It looked like some weird-ass frigging like glitch because of that defensive play. Yeah, like look at this. Irwin's literally... Oh my goodness. Did he readjust it finally? No, it's still glitched out. Oh no. Is that going to cost us the game? If this costs us the game, I'm going to be absolutely pissed. But his stick is out of position. His blocker is stuck behind his back. And he's literally stuck in this position. I hope he corrects himself. But we're taking a screenshot of this. And if we lose, I'm at least going to send that over to EA. Because that's ridiculous if he can't make the save. Looks like he still might be able to, but like his arm is completely broken on this play because he just gets ran into and then that arm just comes back. That kind of ruined this overtime if we end up losing. We got to find a way to win here. Let's not allow any shots on goal, or hopefully it resets after a face-off or something. I honestly don't know, but If we end up losing because of that, that'd be crazy. Yeah, he's still stuck in that position. Oh, he got it fixed. There we go. Okay. Holy moly, that was scary. I thought that was going to really cost us the game. That was the weirdest thing I've seen in a while. Crane drops to Schaefer. Deflected on net. Nice try. That was not a bad option. But yeah, if we would have lost because of a glitch like that, that would have definitely summed up the series. Nice save there by Irwin since his arm is okay now. But in real life, that guy definitely would have probably broken his arm if it was that far behind him, I feel like. All right, Jocelyn's actually leading our team in goals this playoffs, it looks like, which is kind of surprising. But he's been a decent depth, kind of like third line, second line guy. Schaefer finds Trotter. Here's Trotter. Trotter walking in with it. Trotter can't get to the net. Now he gets a chance. Can't get a backhand through, though. Here comes the Leafs the other way. Pitt with it. Drops to Versailles, and that was offsides. Yeah, nice play. Whew. Hopefully this is not a long overtime, but if it is, at least it'll add a little bit more dramaticness to this series. But I'm really hoping we could find a way to win here, man. And then hopefully next game we find a way to win on home ice again. Get to a conference finals. That'd be awesome. Schaefer to Ragnarsson. Ragnarsson over to Ashton alone, and a big save by Linden. Oh my god. And Ashton cannot believe it. And I mean, I would not be able to believe it too. He just got completely robbed on that breakaway. All alone trying to close out this game. Big glove save. Their goalie's been really impressive in this series. Like, he's only an 85, but definitely can make some big saves. Just like Irwin on our team for that matter. But goddamn, that would have been such a nice one. Nice little walk-in with 3 guys chasing him. Ashton's been another solid player down the middle too. I'm glad that we held on to him when we did, because our center depth definitely wouldn't be as good if we let him go. Another face-off here. Ashton can't win it. Here is Aston. Ashton and Aston, Jesus. Nichols with it for Toronto, walking in wide. Throws it out front. Loose puck in front. Almost gets knocked into our own net. Blake finds it. Big save there. Holy crap. I thought we were going to do an own goal at that point. Ragnarsson throws it over. That's delayed offside, yeah. That sucks. Zancanaro over to Klimchuk. Get away. Zancanaro walks in and Irwin makes the save. Oh, I feel like a goal's coming soon. They almost have full pressure. But it seems like the tempo of the game all of a sudden went from kind of mid to all of a sudden a little bit more fast pace. Jocelyn on the draw. He wins it cleanly. Nicely done, Jocelyn. At least he's good at faceoffs too. We turned it over though. Gibson walks in. Big save Irwin. They almost have pressure. Now they do. We got to get this out immediately, please. Oh my goodness. Bad turnover. Versailles can't get the shot. Zancanaro. Gibson. Oh my god. Get it away. Aston has shot. Irwin will stop it. Oh my god. 15, 16 seconds on full pressure. The pressure system's awesome, but it's also scary as hell when you watch the AI. Like, in terms of like online gameplay, I think a lot of people complain about it, but I do like it from an offline standpoint. It's just very stressful. Mäkinen at the draw. At least he's got good face-offs, but he does win it. Svedberg. Get it out. Just clear it out. There you go. We get rid of the pressure. Whew. Crane. Captain Crane gets hit from behind. Can't get even a shot. And the Leafs back the other way again. Klimchuk poke-checked by the youngster Svedberg. Here is Mäkinen. Mäkinen. Carrying the puck into the Leafs zone. Can't get by. This is definitely close to what the series has probably been like. Back and forth. Zancanaro walks in for Toronto. Gets a shot deflected off of skate, but Irwin has the awareness to read that. And once again, they almost have full pressure after just a couple shots, which is kind of scary. But yeah, that went off somebody's skate and went right to the net. So, got to win this face-off. Got to get it out again. Can't allow them to get pressure again. Whew. Jensen at the draw. We have our fourth line out there against their first line. I don't know if I like that, but it is what it is. Canone wins it. Harris walks in, shoots, and that is maybe off the goalie. I'm not even too sure if that hit the goalie or missed a net, but they almost have full pressure, but we get it out again. Gerard finds Schmalz. Schmalz carries it in. Still with it. We'll kick it down to the corner. A battle there with Jensen, but he can't win it. Here comes Vorobiev. Vorobiev with some space. Walks in. Shoots. Big block by Holmstrom. Nice defensive play there too. Alos almost got it in. Did that even go in? No, it did not. Very much on the line there. Got knocked on the line after the whistle, but holy crap. That was a little nerve-wracking. Almost found a way to squeak in. Ashton wins the draw again. Holmstrom finds it to Ragnarsson. Ragnarsson to Trotter. Trotter can't get by. I feel like we're not generating enough offensively right now. We got to get some chances. But at least both teams have the exact same amount of shots, so it's pretty even. Trotter. Trotter walking in, makes some moves. Trotter still with it, can't get by Harris. Their defensive play has been way better than I anticipated right now. Canone dumps it in. Holmstrom throws it to Ragnarsson. Ragnarsson will corral it for a little bit, then throws it up to Ashton, I think. Yeah, and we have a power play coming. Okay, I didn't even see that penalty. It's a boarding penalty? Is that what it said? The coach ain't going to like it, but I didn't see what happened at all. A boarding penalty against Alos? Did he hit the guy that passed the puck up in Ragnarsson or whatever? Isaac Alos. Let's see this. Yeah, he went after Ragnarsson. And, okay, yeah, that's definitely a board. I didn't even see that at all. Damn, man, that's a really bad hit. Not a 5-minute major. Kind of surprised on that, but he knocked the helmet right off. Hopefully Ragnarsson's okay after that, because obviously we can't afford to lose somebody like that in this playoffs. But we do have a power play here in overtime, which is huge. 5 minutes left in this first overtime. Can we find a way to win? Ragnarsson wins the draw. Here's Dempsey over to Harris. Harris shoots, deflected on net, and Linden will stop it. Not a bad first chance on this power play. As long as we utilize this 2 minutes well, we should be able to get some good chances on net. Because I think our power play has been okay for the most part, but I can't remember. Ragnarsson on the draw again, and he can't win it. Polacek turns it over. Ragnarsson can't even shoot. He tried to go for a pass, and the Leafs will clear it. Got to think about shooting that puck a little bit more maybe, but Harris throws it around the boards, and I think that's Dempsey. I can't see who's battling for that puck. We have 3 guys on one right now, and Dempsey takes it away. It's an odd man rush. Dempsey with a lot of speed finds Schmaltz. Turn away, rebound, scores! Nathan Dempsey! And the Islanders win in Toronto. I felt like a goal was coming just based on this scrum and the fact that we had an odd man break. And a big rebound goes to Dempsey, and he shoves it 5-hole. The New York Islanders are 1 win away from the Eastern Conference Finals. An absolute huge goal if we find a way somehow to get to the Cup Finals this year again. But Nelson Dempsey threw it over. Schmaltz with the shot. Rebound was there, and it somehow found a way in. No goalie interference called. We got to look back at this afterwards as well. But that's a huge goal, especially if we could find a way to win that next game and close them out. But that's a big overtime winner and a nice power play goal as well. I feel like that's one of the first times we've seen Dempsey score since we've jumped into a game before. So let's get past this and let's take a look at that goal, and then we'll obviously get to the next one soon. But Dempsey had, like, see this little rush? Like, whenever you see the AI all of a sudden go quickly, fast-paced, I feel like it's definitely a goal. Like, this defenseman got completely caught, and that's Clarkson. And then Dempsey finds it, uses a ton of speed, breaks away quite easily. And then all of a sudden it's a 3-on-1. He throws it over to Schmaltz. Schmaltz is a shooting guy, goes low. The rebound's there for Dempsey, and he's able to corral this puck and barely get it in. I guess he lost control of it, but it still goes in because the defenseman runs him into the net, and it's in. Simple as that. That's a nice goal. All right. So Dempsey got third start of the game and a goal and assist from in this big game in Toronto. What about some other players? Definitely a back and forth battle in this one. Definitely could still go to 7 games at this rate. Jocelyn second start, 2 goals. Love to see it. And first start of the game went to Toronto's Miles Cannon, of course. Let's go back to the box score on this. So we had Jocelyn from Kazanov and Schaefer, Ragnarsson from Trotter and Holmstrom, Mackinnon from Crane and Dempsey, Jocelyn from Kazanov and Harris, and Dempsey from Schmaltz and Kazanov. I'll take it. All right. So we're 1 win away from the conference finals. Obviously, if we find a way to get there, like I said, we play Columbus, which we played them a ton. So could be an interesting matchup if we do get there. But we got to find a way to win one more game. All right. Anaheim has moved on to the Western Conference Finals. Colorado's still battling with Calgary. And we have the series lead on Toronto. Well, let's keep the team the same. It's been a weird series so far. A lot of 1-goal, 2-goal games. We could end up losing this game. Losing Game 7. We could end up winning this game and closing out the series. Or we can end up losing this game and winning still in Game 7. I honestly don't know what to expect at this point. So let's keep the team the same. It was a good offense showing it last game. Maybe need to be better defensively next game, but Let's see if we can find a way to close out Toronto on home ice and face off against the Blue Jackets potentially. Come on, boys. Get it done, or else Game 7 could potentially be the last game of the series. Could potentially be. First period, Game 6. 3-0 us. Let's go. That's a huge first period from this team. Dempsey scores the start this game, builds off that overtime winner. Trotter then scores 2 goals. Holy crap, this team might actually be able to get to the conference finals in a year that I did not expect. We had a really good regular season, but we finished as a wildcard team, and right now, for a wildcard team, we're looking like maybe the best team in this Eastern Conference potentially. I don't know where the Blue Jackets finished. I think they were a wildcard team too, potentially. So it might be a battle of 2 wildcard teams in the conference finals, maybe. But that's a really good first period and maybe makes it have an easier chance for us to get on. Obviously, if we have a bad second period, though, they could still come back. So we got to be careful. Shots are 18-7 in favor of us as well. Can we find a way to keep this game going? Second period. Still 3-0. Our team has figured out its defensive game still. And offensive game is there in spurts, but a good start to the game. And now we're a period away from the conference finals. Shots are 29-16. This is looking good so far. Obviously, there's going to be tougher teams ahead, though. These first 2 rounds kind of were gifted to us because there are teams that were below us in the standings. But next round, we're going to have to take on a tougher team probably since our division was so tight. So let's see if we can lock this game down. Shots are easily in our favor. Goals are in our favor. We should be able to have this unless we completely blow it. Third period underway. Woo, power play for us. Can we score on it? No, we can't, but it takes a ton of time off the clock. Penalty kill, 5-on-3 penalty kill, and we killed them both off. Very good defensive play there. And your New York Islanders are going to be going to the conference finals and have extended the series at least for 1 more episode, or at least for, 2 more episodes, I guess, technically. Let's friggin' go. Final shots, 44-23. All 3 of our goals came in the first period, so we've been maybe more of a first period team, but this time we figured out how to play defense the rest of the way. Dempsey from Mäkinen and Crane. We got Trotter from Holmstrom and Ragnarsson, and Trotter from Ragnarsson and Holmstrom, so very, very big win there on home ice, building off that overtime winner. And this team is actually going to get a chance to go to the finals if we could find a way to beat the Columbus Blue Jackets, which I honestly don't know what they look like. I think we played them recently and they beat us, but I honestly don't know. So Irwin first star of the game. Irwin with the shutout. Trotter second star. Ragnarsson the third star. And let's see what we got in terms of some player stats. And then obviously we'll take a look at the Blue Jackets. But Colorado, Calgary are headed to Game 7. We might as well see who ends up winning out of that series. And obviously Anaheim, we said, is already on to the conference finals. The answer to the Western Conference will be Colorado and Anaheim. So Calgary got knocked out. That's an interesting one, but all right. Columbus and us in the conference finals. They're 8-3 so far. It's not crazy, but that's similar to us. Let's take a look at some stats through the first 2 rounds, and then obviously we'll take a look at the Blue Jackets and their player stats as well. Do a little comparison with us in Columbus, but in terms of our player stats so far during this playoff run, like I said, our depth scoring has definitely been apparent. Dempsey leading the way as point per game, him and Trotter, which is 2 guys that I didn't really expect to be up there. But then Jocelyn, Mäkinen, Harris, all like close to point per game. Like in general, if you look through our entire lineup, a lot of good depth scoring, except for guys like Jensen, and who does not really do a lot of offense. He's kind of been a bad player, to be honest, in this playoffs, but he is a younger guy. We're keeping him in. There has been some plus-minus issues within the bottom 6 because Schmaltz is more of a power play performer, but I don't really care too much to address that right now. And then from a defensive standpoint, Holmstrom's on 10 assists. We have Ekblad on 4 points. In general, everybody's been solid. Svedberg and Goulet are minus, but Svedberg was a -3 in 1 game, so that's probably why. And then from a goaltending perspective, a .917 save percentage from Irwin. All right. Looking pretty good at this point. It's been a good team effort. All right, so we are taking on Columbus. Let's do a little comparison in the regular season. So they were the other wildcard team. This is an interesting race. We actually have home ice advantage for the series. But we've literally had to play a bunch of mid teams up to this point, which have helped us out quite a bit. Now, Columbus, though, is doing really well in the playoffs, so maybe not as mid as we think, but we knocked out Florida on 88 points. We knocked out Toronto on 86. And now in the conference finals, we have to take on Columbus with 91. And they only made the playoffs because of regulation wins. That was the only deciding factor, or ROW, I should say, too, over the New York Rangers. Or else the Rangers would have been in the playoffs. So, this is interesting. Was not expecting that. They were a better offensive team during the season than us. They were worse defensively. They were better on the power play, and they were worse on the penalty kill. So they're more of an offensive team or more of a defensive team, which is interesting to note. All right, so with that said, how about playoff comparison? Let's actually just go back to the main screen because it's kind of easier to take a look at it via this screen instead. So in terms of offense, we're better right now, but it is still close. They are averaging 3.27. We're averaging 3.5. They are second in goals against, 2.64 to our 2.67. So very even in terms of both those areas. Power play percentage, our power play has been a lot better than theirs by 9%. And penalty kill percentage, theirs has been better by almost 4%. So they are a better defensive team. We're better offensively. So once again, kind of similar to the regular season, but reverse roles because they were the better offensive team during the season. We were the better defensive team. That's interesting. All right. Well, let's take a look at the roster here. I think they knocked this out last year, if I remember right. I cannot remember for sure, though. I got to take a look through my videos here. 1 second. Let's see. Did we play them last year? Yeah, I think it was last year they knocked us out in the first round. So, yeah, they knocked us out last year in round 1. We kind of do know what they look like, I think, on paper. Like, they have that Kuka guy and stuff, but I don't remember if they won the cup last season or not either. I feel like they got far. But anyways, this is what the roster looks like. Adrian Finley. I don't know if that guy was there last year. No, he was. Okay. He's just a pretty solid player. Finley, Wes Kidd, and Nurse Kimo Kuka. Solid at the top line. Second line, Devin Agostini, Eric Lyon, and Torsten Davidson. Damn, Torsten Davidson's there. I remember this dude when he was really good during the NHL seasons. Like his 117-point year. And now he's in Columbus. He's a 57-point guy. Just left Vegas recently, but he is still... Actually, he has won a cup. But he is a very underrated player just because he's 36 years old now. But yeah, top 6 is good. Third line has Zachariah Waugh. Interesting name. Emmanuel Letowski and Pascal Moro. Fourth line, Toby Spencer, Kirill Ovechkin, and Jyrki Hakkarainen. So Hakkarainen was also really good at one point. He is actually still a good player, 42 goals this year. So I know he might be only an 80 overall, but he is still a very good goal scorer. So we got to be careful about that. So yeah, that's a really solid forward group. Very solid depth down the middle. Wingers better on the left side than the right side, but still pretty balanced. From a defensive standpoint, they have an 89 overall defenseman, Jesper Dansk, who has only been there for the last 2 years, but he's a very high-end defenseman. They also have Adam Ollie, Don Cashman, Drake Jansevsky, a little bit of a weaker top 4, but still good, and then Nathan Seifers and Alexander Glebov. Yeah, so that defensive core, they're probably paying a lot of money to guys like Dansk and all that. My guess, yeah, $17.47 million. So it might be in a bit of a cap situation. That's why guys like Ollie are in. And then goalie-wise, they do still have more, which they surprisingly let go of. I think it was a different goalie that was playing for them last year that won them the Stanley Cup, right? Yeah, I think it was. But Moore has been really good this playoff so far. Technically, the Blue Jackets have, with him in net, have only lost once in regulation, which means that Olofsson must have played a game. Let me take a look at this. Did he play any games? Yes, he has played one playoff game this year, but he was really solid in it despite the loss. So, yeah, they're very strong defensively. Scratch-wise, they have Robinson Sillinger. And they also have Colin Hemingway. Why do I recognize that name? St. Louis. I feel like I recognized him from somewhere. I don't think we ever had him, though, right? No. Maybe we played against him in the playoffs. I honestly don't know. There's also Desmond Cappy. Yeah, this is a solid team. I can see why they've gotten as far as they have. Obviously, them being only a wildcard team is kind of surprising, but they're definitely a team that could still do good, despite their overall ranking. Like, it's definitely interesting that both of us are wildcard teams and we got this far. regardless of who gets on to the next round, maybe one of these teams is a cup champion because they're a wildcard team. But I don't know how good Colorado and Anaheim were during the season either, or what their rosters look like. But we have a chance to go to the finals if we could find a way to get 4 more wins against a tough Blue Jackets team. So there's that. Let's take a look at their stats. I was actually almost going to forget about it. But let's take a look at their stats from the regular season and also the playoffs so far so we could see who the main threats to watch out for are. In terms of the regular season, yeah, Westkid was point per game. Finley was good. Letowski was good. Yeah, they have good depth scoring as well, especially on offense, it looks like, for the most part. And like guys like Hakkarainen, like I said, only 64 points this year, but 42 goals is insane. So we got to be careful about their power play, I guess. Defensively, they do have okay depth scoring, but they don't have a defenseman that picks up like 60-plus points. And then goaltending-wise, solid goaltending numbers during the season. Looks like, did they trade their goalie during the season because of being a wildcard team? That might have been the thing that I saw. I feel like they traded their starting goalie. That Stevenson, was it a Stevenson guy? I think it might have been Stevenson. We'll take a look in a little bit and see if where he went. But I think they traded him away, and they've still made it this far, which is insane too. So far in the playoffs, though, we got to watch out for, looks like, Kidd for the most part. Everybody else is under point per game, but looks like they're still getting decent depth scoring and some points from the back end a little bit too. Yeah, and in goaltending, they've been very good defensively. All right. But yeah, I think it was Stevenson that was their goalie last year, right? Was it Stevenson? Or am I just thinking of a random goaltender? Let's go to player search here. I got to find out because I think they had a different goalie. Obviously, I could find out after I record this episode, but I want to kind of see if I remember the goalie's name. Because he was the same overall as Moore, because Moore last year was the backup when we played them. No, it wasn't Stevenson. Who was his name? I got to look through every team's goalies right now. So we're going to just do that. Even though it technically will show us Anaheim's lines, who we might face in the finals if we get there. I just need to take a look and see where this guy is. Because I'm almost certain there's an 86 overall goalie. What the heck? Was that a 57 overall goalie? What is this, Buffalo? God damn. Oh, it's Smithson. That's his name. Yeah, this guy, the 24-year-old Columbus Blue Jacket goalie, he got dealt to the Flames and they got to the conference finals. Or the second round, I should say. Almost to the conference finals, but yeah, last year he was Columbus's guy in his second NHL season. And he was the guy for them in the playoffs when we played against them, I think. No, he wasn't. It was Moore that we played last year. I thought we played this guy last year, but I do remember him as the 86. So maybe we played more last year, I guess. But Smithson's gone from them. So they traded him away to Calgary. Who did Columbus get in return, actually, in that deal? Because, yeah, they definitely sold off some pieces, but they still made it this far. Who is the person that was with the Flames? Oh, there's one. That was Letowski. Okay, so Letowski was a big part of that trade. And he's more of a... he was actually pretty good for them, so he was a big part of it. Was there anybody else included in that deal? I definitely could look back after this recording, but I still want to just know. I guess that was the only player, or was Olsen included? Was Olsen with the Flames at all this year? No, he was not. I don't know. Maybe it was just Letowski straight up for that goalie, but there's probably picks involved and all that too. So, anyways, with that said, that's going to do it, guys, for this episode of not Columbus Blue Jackets. Goddamn, I can barely talk. New York Islanders franchise mode. So, in next episode, we will take it to the conference finals against the Blue Jackets as we look to somehow continue this hot trend that we're on. Obviously, we're playing a lot of teams that are worse than us, but we hadn't had home ice advantage until the series. So I'm hoping our team can find a way to beat this Blue Jackets team that's on a very good note as of late. And if we find a way to beat them, we could get to a Stanley Cup Finals again. Apparently going into the playoffs, they were 7-1-2 as well. And they've been really good in this playoffs. So it is a tough team to beat. But I do think we could still find a way potentially since we've had some good battles with some of these other teams before this. So let me know that below. And I'll see you guys next time.